Today, it's all about framing Britney Spears. So, have you seen this documentary? It is the unauthorized New York Times documentary on Hulu that looks at Britney Spears' career, how she rocketed to fame and then had this brutal crash that we all remember. Of course, it was partially brought on by the media, in my mind. They interview people close to Spears and lawyers tied to her conservatorship. That's hard to say, conservatorship, as she battles her father in court over who should control her life. All right, so I could have watched this for hours and hours and hours. It was only 1 hour long. Charlotte, I want your thoughts on this as well. But, it's so fascinating because this happened back like in 2006, 2007, when she shaved her head and then she sort of had this meltdown and then her father stepped in. It was so fascinating to find out that her father really hadn't been a part of her life. It was her mom that was so close to her. And it makes you suspicious, like, oh, she's worth billions. And now the father, who's not really around, comes in. And oh, by the way, if she was a man, would any of this ever happen?
Yeah. I mean, paternalism is alive and well. Like, it's really alive when it can make money.
Well, so it's so true. And, I'm not discounting the fact that she may have had a mental breakdown. But my God, the media helped to create that. When you watch the paparazzi, and we're just seeing a snippet of it, folks. I mean, they just never left her alone. And I know it's like, be careful what you wish for. You're going to say, well, she wanted to be famous and her parents pushed her and she was a mouseketeer and all that crap. Nobody deserved. I mean, speaking of Princess Diana, that's how she died too. I mean, it made me so pained watching this beautiful, talented young woman go through this awful experience and to have it all play out in the public eye. And then to have people swoop in and sort of take over your life. And now, Charlotte, she's still under this conservatorship. Yeah. I swear I can't say it because I don't like it.
That's definitely why. Also, because that many syllables in one word is not okay. But yeah, she's still under this conservatorship, and the documentary really deals with how the media brought this on and the perspective from which she's framed. And you know me, I love a pun. And the title is a great pun. It's framing Britney Spears. It's framing her, like setting her up. She's been set up by the media, by the public, by us. I remember when I was, 14 years old, definitely making fun of Britney Spears. There's also the framing, like putting her in a frame, the way we frame someone in the shot in a camera. And there's also framing, like the way framing this public perception of who she is. And the movie gets to that, and it tries to bring different voices to get us to, quote, reframe how we're seeing all this.
It reminded me so much of what the world did to Monica Lewinsky.
Absolutely.
And just, like, and here's the thing. I know we're probably getting ahead of ourselves in the conversation, but my hope is in 2021 that we would not do this to women because of a movement that I hope I helped spearhead, that we would not crucify them to the level that Monica Lewinsky was crucified. Not saying what she did was right, but for God's sake, she was a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, he was president of the United States, okay? Same thing here. She's a kid. I mean, she was in her 20s, but for all practical purposes. And it really doesn't even matter how old you are when you're treated that way. I'm hopeful that we've come farther along and that we're more educated on the detrimental effects. Did you watch all the late night comics and what they were saying about Britney Spears?
Everybody lambasted her. An easy target is an easy target, and it's a problem that she was such an easy target. It's interesting, this video of late night host Craig Ferguson, who I think is very funny, is now going viral. It's a video from 2007 where he's very forthright about his own experiences as a recovering alcoholic, and it's the 15 year anniversary of his own recovery. And he basically he refuses to make fun of her. He said, we are contributing to this. The mainstream media is contributing to this. And he relates it to like when you're watching America's Funniest Home Videos, when the kid falls on his face and you laugh and then you go, wait a minute, why is someone holding a camera? Go help that kid. I mean, Britney Spears, when you're in your early 20s, which was not too long ago for me, You are a kid.
I'm starting to feel uncomfortable about making fun of these people. And for me, comedy should have a certain amount of joy in it. It should be about us attacking the powerful people, attacking the politicians and the Trumps and the blowhards and going after them. We shouldn't be attacking the vulnerable people. And I think this is totally a mea culpa. This is just for me. I think my aim's been off a bit recently. I want to change it a bit. So tonight, no Britney Spears jokes.
So I think he was like one of the only late night comedians, and too bad he was on like late, because I don't know how many people saw that, or nobody listened to it at the time. They just kept making fun. I mean, even Diane Sawyer, who I have revered my whole career, did an interview with her, which now the questions seem, they seem like way too forceful. There was another, interviewer during the doc that asked her about her breasts. I mean, that brought back memories, Charlotte, when I was Miss America in my first press conference. And another woman reporter asked me if I had ever done drugs and if I had ever had sex. It was so freaking humiliating. And I was 22 years old. I had just accomplished something pretty spectacular. And she dubbed me the smart Miss America because I went to Stanford. And then she gave me a test during the press conference to make me me look stupid.
God.
That was
the things that we do to women are awful.
Yeah. And I have videotape of this. It's true. It's proof. And I confronted her later on, 10 years later, which, you know what? Let's make that our fun fact for this Friday. And I'll share the story of what happened. Yeah, let's make that. Because if you've ever had one of those times in your life, probably many times, should I, could I? But it was so humiliating for me. And that was one instance. I can only imagine what Monica Lewinsky and Britney Spears, and especially Britney right now, since we're talking about her, has gone through. And, it's interesting. Let's just sort of wrap it up by saying that it appears that the court is saying that she hasn't asked to be taken out of the conservatorship, that she just wants a bank in charge of it and not her father. And the court has acquiesced to a certain degree in that they have split it now. But it's interesting that she hasn't asked to completely be out of it. And I just want to point out that in the documentary, they do, in being fairness to both sides, they do say that we don't know all the details.
And that's something that Britney talks about herself when she reacted to this documentary. She's like, you don't know all of the things that are happening behind the scenes. And for me, that's also a fundamental thing that this documentary is getting to, of like, we want to know and we want to get the inside scoop, but then we're so quick to assume. We really don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. And so this whole movement has started, the #Free Britney movement. And that's, very popular in social media now, but it's actually a physical movement of people going to the courthouse and, saying that she has inspired them going through difficult times. Justin Timberlake, her former boyfriend, who, my God, wrote a whole song like making fun of her. He's apologized now all these years later to Britney. He's apologized to Janet Jackson for how he treated her during that whole mishap where her breast was exposed during the Super Bowl halftime show. I just, listen, after everything I've been through, Charlotte, this is progress.
Yeah.
It's progress to see these apologies. Like I said at the beginning, I hope this same kind of misogyny would not happen in 2021 to the same extent. But rest assured, if Britney Spears was Brett Spears, she wouldn't be under conservatorship.
No, I totally agree with you. And the other question for me is like, apologies are nice. They're helpful, but they're a tiny step in systemic change. The thing I want is for those of us who are watching, and next time a woman comes up like this, we think, what kind of frames am I easily falling into? And what's the source? How is this source framing this person?
Great point. Food for thought.